Okay, so everybody get your flashlight. This is dark.
Okay.
So I want to talk about the Philadelphia experiment.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
nice.
so they did this in 1943.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start off by saying there was no teleportation, there was no time travel.
Okay.
That was a cover story. I don't know if you're familiar with when they first switched from the propeller planes to the jet planes, but they actually had those pilots have like gorilla masks. So if anybody ever saw them, that their story would say that I saw a gorilla flying a plane with no propellers. So they've
Really?
been doing this kind of thing to poison the water for a long time.
That's hilarious.
So the real thing that they were trying to do was they were trying to find a way to either make ships invisible to radar or to jam the radar so it looked like there was this massive formation so you couldn't tell how many ships or planes there were.
Okay.
So what they did was they wrapped the USS Eldridge was the name of the actual ship in electrical coils. They turned it into like this big, almost electromagnetic type thing. They had a bunch of generators hooked up to it, and they turned it on. So all radar is microwaves. That's how every radar works. It's the same thing that works in your microwave. As soon as they turned this thing on, they started microwaving the crew because they didn't know what microwaves were. Microwaves didn't get invented for 3 years after this.
Yep.
The entire crew immediately starts getting microwaved to death. They all immediately get traumatic brain injuries. I've got some documentation to prove this here in just a minute. Everybody on board abandoned their post. They didn't have a dead man switch because they didn't know that this was going to happen. So the time travel thing was that the ship just kept sailing for I don't know how long it kept sailing, but there was nobody that could stop the experiment or could turn the ship off at that point. Fires broke out. Everyone was in severe pain. The stories of crew members that were fused to the hull of the ship. I don't know if you've ever seen what shredded cheese that falls off in the microwave, what happens to that. That's what happened to those sailors.
Wow.
Some of the sailors survived apparently by jumping off the ship.
Wow. Where are you getting this from?
So I did a lot of research into the Havana syndrome and other stuff, and I don't have any actual proof that this is what's happened, but I'm very confident that this is actually what happened to them.
Yeah, because the theory about it, like traveling, like through a portal or something, too. Don't they say it went to like Long Island or something?
Yeah, they said that, but I'm pretty sure that's just cover because, like I said, once the crew is incapacitated, the ship kept going for I don't know how long. I don't know how they eventually stopped it. I would assume that like they had to bomb the ship in some way. They had to attack it or wait until like it ran out of fuel.
Wow.
Yeah. Carl Allen claims to have witnessed the destroyer. Let me see. The ship inexplicably teleported to Norfolk, Virginia.
That's
for
what it was,
several
right.
minutes and then reappeared in the Philadelphia yard.
BV Luminous is saying far more probable. I believe this is in reference to what you're saying, Synchro. And I have to say that's a high probability of that being the case. I mean, I also think that they are working on ways to make portals. I mean, CERN is kind of doing that in a way with black holes, but this does. It's scary.
Well, it gets a little weirder. Ship's crew is supposed to have suffered various side effects, including insanity, intangibility as one of them, intangibility, and being frozen in place. When Jessup wrote back requesting more information to corroborate his story, Allen said his memory would have to be recovered and referred Jessup to what seems to be a non-existent Philadelphia newspaper article that Allen claimed covered the incident.
Interesting. Well, what else are we missing here with this story? This is a fascinating take.
Okay, so it's either 1946 or 1947. It was either 3 or 4 years after this incident was when the first commercially available microwaves, like to actually cook food, were released. In my opinion, there's no way that's a coincidence. Like I said, radar is just microwaves. They had this crazy experiment that did something that killed almost everybody on the crew, and they just so happened to release microwaves commercially 3 years after that. They learned what happened to the crew and then decided, hey, we can just use this on food.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, the original story about where microwaves came from was some guy was working close to a radar dish and like some chocolate in his pocket got a little
Oh, is that what it
melted.
is?
Like,
I heard one about space.
That's what they say.
I heard the other. Wasn't there another origin story about it? They made it in space.
I've not heard that one.
Yeah, I might have just dreamt that one.
Well, it's funny when I throw it in there on just a random search. AI hasn't touched this yet. Microwaves were invented by Percy Spencer in the 1940s, who discovered their cooking potential accidentally while working with radar technology during World War II.
Ah,
Yes.
so many things.
I have an NIH article I want you guys to bring up. So the title of it is Pathopsychology, Pathophysiology of Microwave-Induced Traumatic Brain Injury. It's from 2015. So they proved that microwaves between the frequency of 800 and 1000 megahertz can penetrate up to 4 to 5 centimeters into the brain and can cause traumatic brain injury.
Wonderful. Do you think they could put that on a satellite and just blast us all in the brains all the time?
I'm sorry, dude. This was microwave-induced TBIs.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm convinced that this is what caused Havana syndrome, and I have some supporting evidence for that. So,
Cool. Can you explain Havana syndrome to those who don't know what that is? Because it's a crazy
Havana
thing.
syndrome is like this weird brain injury that people get that they can't prove where it came from, and apparently they can't actually like find anything wrong with their brains on an MRI.
Right.
But like it gives people brain damage and it messes them up like really bad, like they're permanently fried after this happens to them.
Well, from what I'm seeing, it's rapid thermal expansion of the brain tissue, which everybody knows when the brain expands, puts pressure on the skull, and ultimately causes severe injury. You know,
And there's people
death.
who've gotten this, who've experienced Havana syndrome at like at our embassies, right, in other countries, and they don't know. I think one happened in Cuba, one in Havana, clearly.
Specifically
China.
at U.S. embassies?
I believe some of them were at embassies. At least the first one's documented that we know. Is that right, Synchro?
I'm not an expert on how many times this has happened. I just believe I know how it happens.
Okay.
Havana is the one I know about.
Now that they know what that is, walk us through your theory.
Okay, so the people who had the Havana syndrome, they said that first off, they could hear this really high-pitched, like metallic sounding screech. And they also said that it felt like it was coming from a certain direction. So the screech that they heard, this is super dark. The way microwaves work is by vibrating water molecules. That was the sound of the water in their cells being vibrated by the microwaves as they were being hit by those directed energy weapons. I see people in chat saying that it was some type of acoustic thing. They hear the sound because it's the microwaves vibrating the water in their cells.
Audio warfare.
Dude, it's no joke. There's a lot of that stuff they use on riots and big crowds that the police have now, that they blast you with a frequency that makes it feels like your blood is boiling.
Yep.
They have an anti-drone system called Thor. If you guys could bring that up and show it on screen, it's a microwave-based weapon, and it's really nasty looking.
I'm looking at a figure here in this model, but this involves them, of course, doing this to a rat.
Oh God!
Does that sound correct to you? It's not an actual physical picture. It's more like a pencil drawing diagram of what this is, but I don't know if we're talking about the same machine or not.
Does it actually exist, or is it like a theory?
The Thor anti-drone system is like looks like a shipping container with a big dish on the back of it.
Okay, you can look for the image, but I do have Thor as in the weapon pulled up, and let me know if this is right. The Tactical High Power Operational Responder. It's a high-powered microwave-directed energy weapon developed by the United States Air Force. Yeah, sounds about right. Thor is designed to counter, here you go, unmanned aerial vehicles by sending out a high-power short pulse of microwaves to disable electronics through overwhelming critical components intended to carry electrical currents. I will say real quick, I'll pause there to remind everyone that Dick Cheney was afraid of something like this actually killing his pacemaker. And they were like really concerned about an attack. And this
completely understandable.
Yeah, I mean he himself might be Satan, honestly, but understandable, I guess. This is effective at intercepting drone swarms while laser needs time to burn through one at a time. A high-power microwave weapon can fire in an arc to disable multiple UAVs at once and refire in rapid succession. Compared to hard kill methods or engaging drones, Thor's radio bursts have a wider engagement range, are silent, and are instantaneous. Intended for base defense, the system resembles a 20-foot shipping container with a satellite dish attached. It can be transported on a C-130 Hercules and assembled by 2 personnel in under 3 hours. Man, that's a crazy weapon I did not know about. And who built the C-130 Hercules? Anybody? Any guesses? You know it. It's Lockheed.
Lockheed C-130 Hercules.
I'm sure Andrew will overtake them soon enough. But okay, that's insane, dude. Thanks for that information.
Yeah, that thing can kill you if they aim it at you and turn it on high enough. It'll totally fry your brain.
I bet they have bigger things, honestly. I mean, this is old.
Dude.
You know, like.
Began testing in spring 2019. System was developed quickly in 18 months for $18 million. That is $1 million out of the budget every month for 18 months for this plane.
I like it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for this thing now. In the see also links is death ray.
Dude.
Theoretical weapon, but I mean, it is a death ray.
An Air Force official said in December 2020 that Thor was being tested in a real-world setting in Africa, but that statement was then retracted.
Sounds like we need some people with Pentagon press passes to ask good questions.
I'm working on it, man.
To ask good questions.
That's why I want to do it.
Keep that in mind when you're there then.
I just don't know what they're going to give me, if it's even going to be worth it, if I'm even going to be allowed to ask any of these questions, because they might vet them ahead of time. But this is what I want to do, people. I want to get in there and I want to ask them about shit like this.
That's the other problem, is when you get in there, they do want pre-approval. Mm-hmm. They want to pre-approve a lot of it. People, and it's debatable.
We're going to have to brainstorm our questions ahead of time and make sure that our shit is concrete so we can get some answers. That's all I'm saying.
It's debatable because you can read the document, and it does make it sound like some things need to be pre-approved, especially meetings and stuff. I don't want to derail this too much from Synchro, but that is something where it's like the signature reduction, this thing right here, what's up with that? Where, I mean, they're not going to be able to answer certain questions because they're going to say national security, or they're going to say they can't talk about things like their weapons. And I do understand that to a degree. But you know, when it comes to like contracts, what they're doing with Anduril, Lockheed, and the way they're not going to answer, I know they're not going to answer this, but the way these things that are built for war always become something they use against the civilians. It's always, I mean, they've condensed most things they've made at war. Maybe not the atom bomb, if you believe that's real. I think I do. I've seen the movie Oppenheimer. Of course it's real. But they have reduced these things down to attack civilians all the time, whether it's like mace or whether it's frequencies that make your blood boil. These things are developed at war and then they're privatized.
And they've got more than one.
Cloud seeding is a great example of that. Made for the Vietnam War. And now we do it all the time.
They developed apparently another one right after it called Mjolnir, keeping the name in the family. July 2021 for an additional $26 million contract that was awarded to Leidos.
Oh, wonderful.
So they got more than one of these things too.
What else you got for us, sir?
You guys remember the X-Files episode Drive with Bryan Cranston?
Oh, shit.
I don't think I do.
That was a while ago. I don't know if I remember that one at all.
So that, I'm pretty sure that's actually based on this stuff. Him and his wife are near this this military testing facility, and they start hearing this sound, and it starts giving them headaches, and they have to drive west or else their brain explodes. I mean, the driving west part is obviously fiction, but hearing the high-pitched sound and then having the headache and the debilitating symptoms, I believe is from X-Files.
We need stuff to be able to counter this.
There's also, I'm sure you've seen They Live, and you remember that. So there's a section in that where they're talking about how the TV reception goes out and everybody gets headaches. And that was actually reported in the town that the Montauk base was experimenting at. You know, they had a giant radar dish up there.
Yep.
So they were just blasting everybody in that town with the radar dish for no telling how long. And
who was building a giant tower for energy out there as well? Not in Long Island. You remember? It's
no, I don't remember that.
Nikola Tesla.
Oh yeah. Thought you were talking more recently.
No. Sorry. Yeah, no. There's something going on out there. They're trying to harness that energy.
As far as I know, some of Tesla's stuff is still not declassified yet.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I mean, that's another thing I like to ask Trump.
Right.
Like a serious question. I think Glenn Beck might have asked Trump about it, but we didn't get much out of it. I don't know how much Trump even knows, but that is a very fascinating story.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't know anything at all.
He knows a little bit. He has talked about it. He knows that he knows his uncle was a genius and was a professor at MIT and was tasked with taking all of Tesla's stuff. I'd be curious to know what else he knows. You know, what do they got in there? What you got in there?
What's in the briefing packet?
What else, sir? This has been eye-opening.
I've got one last thing to leave you with that's UFO related. So I have a theory that the UFOs, that the actual alien UFOs, that their hulls are reinforced with a quantum effect that actually makes them invincible. Like they could fly supersonic right through the Earth's crust and come out the other side without a scratch. It's called the quantum Zeno effect. They've proven it in the lab. So if you make measurements of a quantum state fast enough, the state won't evolve. And what that means in the real world is you can keep molecules and atoms from heating up, from breaking apart by just measuring them so fast that they just kind of freeze in time.
Interesting. I love the information you share with us, man. It's wild. And like I said before you got on the phone call, I hope you're not actually building the death machine.
I'm not building the death machine. I renounced my supervillain ways years ago.
Attaboy.
Awesome. Thanks, man. We appreciate the phone call, and you know where to find us when we got more.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks,
care.
Synchro.
You
You
too.
too.